What's up, YouTube? This is Mathwas97, and welcome back to my Pokemon Fire Red Nuzlocke. It feels really good to go back to introducing a Nuzlocke. It's been so long since the last one, and I'm just excited. I am just as excited as hopefully all of you are for this series to continue on. So that tackle actually did a pretty good amount of damage. I don't think I want Wilder to stay out here for too much longer. I know Wilder could probably take one more. I'm not going to take any chances with it, though. And I could go to Rattatator, but I don't think Rattatator is going to be in much better shape. So I'll just bring out Sarcasm and just scratch it. Alright, so that takes out that Pidgey. Training is going to be very difficult, very difficult to open up this series. I guess now I'll bring Rattatator to the forefront. The controls for this are more normal for me than what the controls are for Mystery Dungeon, so it's kind of weird trying to adjust the controls for that game and then going back to this one where everything is more normal. Like in that one, to open up the menu, I have to hit B on the GameCube. Ooh, controller. Okay, Rattatator, no. You can go back. Man, this is just the first grinding session and immediately a casualty. That would have been the most tragic thing in the whole world. But yeah, the GameCube on the GameCube controller, the B button was meant to open the menu for Red Rescue Team. For this game, it's the start button, like it normally would be. So I guess I'm just gonna be doing a lot of switch training now. Which, I mean, I was expecting to do that anyway. I was kind of hoping that maybe Rattatator or Wilder could at least take out one Pokemon, but that doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. I have to level them up a bit higher before I can actually do that. I should have used Ember. Why did I not use Ember? Actually, I don't even know if I would have one-shot this thing with Ember. I mean, I took out that other Pidgey before at level 2, so I mean, maybe I could. It's possible. At least Sarcasm's level 8. I'm gonna go back and heal again. This is what this is gonna be like. This is the plague, the trouble of a Nuzlocke is just getting the team up to snuff. But after this series, however long this goes for, if I end up beating the game or not, like I said, I want to go through the generations, so once I finish this Fire Red Nuzlocke, I plan to, I guess technically I'd be going back if you want to talk about this game being technically a third-gen game since it's the remake. But after this, I'm going to go back to Pokemon Crystal to cover some second generation. We're going to do a Nuzlocke for that, probably following similar rules to this one. That I might implement a little different thing to spin things up. It all depends on how this Nuzlocke goes. If I end up dying early on in this, then I might just continue with with the rules of this one, because I mean, like, if I can't even beat this one, then how the heck would I, like, why would I try to make it more difficult? That is the interesting thing with the Nuzlocke series, is that you don't exactly know how long it's gonna go on for. It could be a whole, like, 40-part series. It could be, I don't know, 10 parts. It could be 2 parts, because everybody could die right off the bat. Actually, I'm gonna leave Rattatator out for some switch training. But my plan for this, I have another rule for this Nuzlocke that I forgot to bring up in the first part. Because I'm limiting myself to the very first Pokemon that I catch, the first 6 that fill my party, and I can't switch them out until they die. There will be one, I will say that there is an exception if I need to, like, fly somewhere, but in terms of in battle, I cannot switch them, like, I cannot switch them out for battles. Like, if I need to fly somewhere, or surf, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to progress through the game, then I am allowed to make a switch, but I cannot use them in battle. So, if I have an HM slave like that, like for surf, then I'm only going to be able to fight with the 5 Pokemon I have until I can deposit that Pokemon for, you know, that would be, I guess, traveling over the entire body of water. But the other rule that I have, since I cannot switch between my 6 teammates. The very first 6 that I catch, I'm stuck with. Since I cannot switch, if I go down, if I get wiped in a gym, so like let's say I go on and fight, not Brock, because I don't think I'll have a full party then, but let's say I'm going up against Lieutenant Surge later on and my entire team gets wiped, then as long as I have Pokemon in the box, I can continue the challenge. The trick, it would just be training them all up. And depending on where I'd be at in the game, I might not be able to make it back to a place where I could train, so I might end up getting slaughtered before then. Hopefully, if that would happen, I'd be in a position where I could fly, so I could fly back to a place to train. But, for example, if I die at Lieutenant Surge, and I have, like, all level 2 Pokemon, I can't go back any further than Cerulean City, so that might just be GG right there. But I would like to, because I can't really switch Pokemon, I think it would be cool to give another team a chance. It'd be different if this were a normal Nuzlocke where usually I say 1 wipe and it's over. But because I don't have access to any of those other Pokemon other than the 6 that I'm using, I feel as though this is a good opportunity to have a rule like that, where it's not just an instant game over if you die. Like, you have other monsters at your disposal. Hopefully, I don't have to use that rule. Hopefully, I can complete the game without losing my entire party in a giant massacre. But I do want to throw that out there just in case. 6 damage. I swear these Pidgey I swear, like, Rattatator's defense went down when he leveled up. Because this Pidgey is just a monster, still wrecking Rattatator. I don't know why I went back and healed, because I never used Mankey, but whatever. Whatever. I guess right now I should focus on Well, no, I went back because Charcasm had taken damage, and I would like to not have Charcasm die. Because otherwise, training is going to be very difficult if all of my real ace for training gets taken out by a level 3 Pidgey. I mean, going up against Brock, I will at least have Mankey, so I might not be totally outclassed. I might also, I'd also considered possibly doing, like, a level cap. Like, obviously, I don't want to go too far over the trainer's highest level Pokemon, but at the same time, I don't exactly know what that highest level is, and I'm too lazy to do the research ahead of time. But I'm gonna try to keep it reasonable how I level my Pokemon. Maybe in the future I will actually look up the levels. But, like, if I go 1 level over the trainer's highest, then that's like, I'm not gonna be too much of a, too strict on that. But preferably, I'd like to, at the most, meet the highest level Pokemon that trainer has. Because otherwise I would not want to make it too easy by over-leveling. Because that, I feel, is kind of going against the spirit of a Nuzlocke, because there should be some semblance of challenge to it. So, another one of my self-imposed rules is that level cap. It might be a bit of a looser level cap. In terms of, like, I have a 1 level... Like, I'm not going to try to go for that 1 level over, but I'm not going to completely give up the challenge just because I went 1 level over. I mean, it's possible that if that does happen, no, because that goes against the rule I imposed, where I'd be switching out, because I thought, well, maybe I could always switch that Pokemon out, but that's very counterintuitive to my rule, the real kick of this challenge. So we're not going to do that. It's just going to be try not to over-level. Alright, 4 health. I think Wilder can finish this off on her own. Yes, she did. Way to go, buddy. Wilder up to level 4 now. We're slowly gaining ground. Slowly making the way. Also, for future grinding sessions like this, I plan on doing something different. So maybe we could do like little little Q&As, or if there's give me ideas for what I should do for future grinding sessions. I know Second Look, I've mentioned him before. I did a podcast with him. He has one called the Grindcast, where he used all of his grinding footage as a backdrop for a podcast to just talk about Pokemon or whatever. I don't know if I could really do that, because I don't really know what I'd even talk about, and it would just be blatantly stealing his idea, for one thing. But, if there's any ideas what you think would be cool for me, how I should use my grinding footage, other than just trying to come up with something to say on the fly like I'm doing right now, let me know down in the comments section, and we can figure out a discourse there. Okay, so Wilder we're getting to the point where these Pokemon can hold their own. It's very risky because a critical hit would be death, but it's still better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Once I get to level 5, more so level 6 is when I could maybe even take on two Pokemon in a row. Oh, level 4. This is gonna be tricky. But can you do it, Rattatator? Or are you gonna be speed tied? Oh. I'm not doing any more. Oh, critical hit, nice. Nice job, Rattatator. You can do it, you can do it. You can do this, Rattatator. Yeah, you did it, buddy. I knew I could believe in you. Way to go. Level 5, you deserve that level up. And now it's just switch training. Actually, oh, okay. I was gonna maybe switch to Wilder, but I guess we're not gonna do that yet. Rattatator can stay out there. Although I'm not gonna have her fight, because next thing I know, critical hit, done, and that's the end of Rattatator. And I do not want to risk that, so I'll let Charkasm handle this. I'll let Charkasm burn them to a crisp. I guess I should also use this time to see, what other Pokemon series would you be interested in seeing from me? Are there any other games? For right now, I'd say preferably something I could play on the GameCube or like a Game Boy game. Something I could do. I guess I could be open to like one-off Pokemon play things. Like, I don't know, there's a Pokemon pinball game that I used to play as a kid, but I don't know how entertaining that would be for a video series. But are there any other games? Obviously, for like DS, I know of plenty of other things. Like, I have more Mystery Dungeon games I could play. There's other main series games I could Nuzlocke. And I recently bought the Pokemon Ranger games. I rebought those because as a kid, I sold most of my Pokemon games. Like, I sold my Gale of Darkness themed GameCube and all the games that I had with it. I sold my, like Pokemon Fire Red, Leaf Green, Sapphire Ruby, Emerald. I owned all of them, and I sold all of them because I was at that phase where I was like, well, Pokemon, I don't really play Pokemon much. I don't think I'll ever play these again. I didn't have the foresight. I was an idiot. But, yeah. So I obviously went back to rebuy Fire Red and Emerald and Red Rescue Team, and of course the Ranger games I was just talking about. Funny story, you can still buy them for full price, basically. Like, it cost me $25 a pop for Fire Red and Pokemon Emerald. So, and I'm pretty sure those were used copies as well. So, like, yeah, $25 for a used copy of Pokemon Fire Red. That just shows how well these games, how well they held up, because they're still admired, they're still sought after even to this day, all of these years later. But any other games, Pokemon-related games, that you think would be interesting for me to cover? Because once I go through my Red Rescue Team series, once that is complete, I won't really have anything to... Rattatator, what are you doing? You gotta hit these. I won't have anything to run alongside my Nuzlockes, other than another Nuzlocke, which I would rather not do. I'd rather have a bit more diversity. So, if there are any other games... I know I mentioned Pokemon Pinball just as an example, but if there's any other... Maybe there's other Pokemon games that I don't know about, but preferably keep it exclusive to, like, the GameCube or the Game Boy. I don't really think that there's any other GameCube Pokemon games that are like... Because I've played Coliseum and Gale of Darkness already, and those were the real, like, the big titles for the GameCube. And I'm not gonna go out and buy, like, a Nintendo 64. That doesn't particularly interest me. Because, like, I could do what? Like, Pokemon Stadium. That I was never really interested in the Pokemon Stadium games. I personally didn't own a Nintendo 64, but I had family members who did, and or relatives rather. Family members, I think, like, I mean, they're the same thing, but like I think of family members as like brother, sister, you know, like your more immediate family. Relatives as like cousins and stuff. But yeah, the Nintendo 64, it's not that, I mean, I thought it was a really good console. I just didn't have a whole lot of time to play Nintendo 64 games. Critical hit, nice! Rattatator is really putting in that work. Might even be able to get Rattatator to level 7. I think I'm gonna get, well, actually, in thinking about it, Corrupt has like a level, I think a level 8 and a level 9. I believe that's how his team is set up. Now all these crits are starting to worry me because I'm worried that I'm gonna get hit with one. So I'm definitely gonna switch out Rattatator now that Rattatator just took out that Rattata. And I will bring Wilder back to the forefront. But just imagine if I started with this team of 6 and we went all the way, if we went all the way to the top. That would be great, having a Rattata in the Elite Four. Rattata, though, it's interesting, because when I was thinking of a nickname, I originally thought of trying to make some sort of reference to Carrot from Maryland's Pokemon Heart Gold Wedlock. Because Carrot was a real bro. Carrot was an amazing Raticate. But I couldn't really think of how to do that, because like what's another food related to Carrot? Like a baby carrot? Yeah, I figured I'd just come up with something else. And I went with Rattatator, which, well, certainly is a name that exists. Thank you for missing, Rattata. Can Wilder get to level 5 on her own without the help of Charkasm? Oh, that tail whip worries me. But we're gonna soldier through, we must. Yes! You did it, Wilder. Welcome to the level 5 club. So far this is going okay. But in the future, I think grinding sessions would be a lot less stressful because you'd at least be somewhere at a decent level and you could just go back to previous places to train against lower level Pokemon. Whereas right now, it's trying to get them from the ground level, so it is a journey, all right. A critical hit again. This is really gonna come back to bite me later on. All these critical hits now, I just know it. And I dread it very much. Actually, I didn't even check these Pokemon, like what their abilities are, or what their stats look like, or their natures, anything like that. There's that critical hit I was waiting for. Wilder, you're out of there, you're done. Charkasm, finish the job. So with that level limit in place, that means that I'm not going to be able to train Charkasm to a high enough level to learn Metal Claw. So I would prefer to not use Charkasm in that fight against Brock. But I mean, I guess if it comes down to it, I might have to. And that'll be interesting because I won't have Metal Claw. But hey, I mean, there's been some interesting things that have happened against Brock. Team 4 Stars Nuzlocke on, they did Leaf Green, I think. And their Nuzlocke was pretty interesting because they, well, I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. I do recommend that you check out Team 4 Stars, specifically the first 2 Nuzlockes they did. I think it was either Leaf Green or Fire Red. I'm pretty sure it was Leaf Green. And then they did a Soul Silver Nuzlocke. And those were both really good. I'm actually, at the time of recording this, I'm thinking about making a video, no joke, a very serious video, an analysis of those 2 Nuzlocke series for my other channel. Specifically about their two protagonist avatar characters, Tantor and Lakeeger. And I think that could be an interesting video. I do expect to get around to it at some point, because now that I have the idea in my head, it's just a matter of just kind of waiting for the real inspiration to kick in, something to motivate me, something to push me to do that. I mean, I'm working on an analysis of music of the Naruto soundtrack. So I've got some projects in the works that are more experimental compared to what I'm used to. Like I did an analysis of Mr. Fusion, who is a fellow, not really an anime-tuber. He doesn't really do anime. He mainly just focuses on Dragon Ball. But I did a video about his Dragon Ball dissection, so that was cool, kind of talking about another YouTuber. I talked about SAO Abridged, so analyzing a parody was pretty cool. Something else, like, I'm trying to experiment with these different niche subjects now, so that way I could always try to expand on it in the future, and it's something I could go back to if I ever get the idea, because then that way I have the format down already, because I've already done it. So if I wanted to do an analysis of Team 4 Stars parodies, I can look back on my SAO Abridged analysis and figure out where to go from there. So if I do, like, like, I've seen people analyze podcasts. The Pedantic Romantic did one on The Dick Show and The Biggest Problem in the Universe. So that was interesting. I've never listened to either of those podcasts, but it was kind of interesting to see an analysis of that. People do video games. People do Let's Plays. I know Keiko Cat did one on Carboys. Yeah, Carboys, that's what it was called. And that was interesting as well. So just kind of exploring different mediums and how to analyze them, other than just like analyzing other YouTubers and stuff. I think it's cool, and it's something I'd like to get into, because my analysis channel, I know I technically refer to it as the anime channel because that's mostly what I use it for, is analyzing anime. But I do want to analyze other things that I'm passionate about, because that's really the whole purpose of that channel, is to talk about things that I'm passionate about and take a more critical look at them and inspect what it's all about and what makes them interesting to me, and why I would like to share that same interesting experience with the world, and perhaps try to get other people to experience that for themselves. Although mostly it's just anime that I'm talking about, but again, follows the same principle of all of my other analyses. I don't know, maybe I could... I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Rattatator up to level 7 now. Learned Quick Attack, sweet. I still am not entirely sure. Like, moving forward with this channel, I know that a majority of the fans of this channel are wrestling fans, and I've thought about, with the rise of the other channel and how I expect that one to be my main focus going forward, it's been interesting trying to figure out what do I want to do with 4 HP, but Rattatator can take it with this tackle. Yes, okay. So Rattatator can go heal right now. Yeah, because I shouldn't have to use Charcasm anymore. They should be able to fight on their own. But with this channel, I refer to it as both the wrestling channel and the gaming channel, because I don't just really do wrestling, like, exclusively, because now I do this Pokemon stuff, and I want to make Pokemon more prominent on the channel, and I'm trying to work on getting some other Let's Plays done of other games. I'm trying to put together a Final Fantasy VII series with one of my friends, and that would be interesting. It's a game that I've never played before, and it's something I would like to... like, nowadays, most of what I do is centered around work, centered around this YouTube channel. So, like, I don't play many video games because if I'm not making, like, I could be making videos in the time that I'm playing that game. So, I don't explore many of the, like, most of what I did before I started the anime channel was just playing the wrestling video game, so I really only played WWE 2K, and I had mainly played that for a few years. There were some Pokemon games that I've started playing now, but I've played them before. It's nothing new. And the only way that I could play new Pokemon games is if I got the technology to do so. If there would be a new Pokemon release coming out on the Nintendo Switch, I know there's going to be Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which I'm not sure if they're just remakes of Sun and Moon or if they're going to be, like, sequels. From my understanding, they're not going to be sequels, which is kind of upsetting, because that's what made Black 2 and White 2 so compelling, is that they were sequels and not just the game rehashed. I mean, Platinum and Emerald were the same game, just fleshing out more elements of the story, so I guess that's what Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon could do. I still haven't really played Sun and Moon, the regular versions. I'm still on the first island, because I just haven't, I'm not making videos on it, so I have less motivation to play it, because I feel like I'm taking time away from making YouTube videos, which is why I'm making more Pokemon videos now, and just trying to branch out and do different things, is because I would like to do more than just making wrestling videos and doing that exclusively. And then, like, the anime analysis stuff I do like, but it's not, like, with a Pokemon series, I can just play the game, and I can just talk, and there's not a whole lot of extra editing that goes into it, whereas with the analysis videos, I have to write everything, I have to then do the commentary, and then I have to edit the audio, edit the video, put that all together. So it's a much more, not complex, but it's a much more time-consuming process than sitting back and playing a game. And I do like to have a good backlog on my channel, so having more games like this that I can play to upload to have as a backlog, so that I can work on other projects in the meantime and not be consistently focusing on one thing and one thing only. That is what I would like to do moving forward, so I'm open to other games as well, whether I do Let's Plays with them with somebody else, like I'm trying to do for this Final Fantasy VII thing, or if I just play them on my own for you all to enjoy. Either way, I think it would be interesting to experiment with different games, although for anything non-Pokemon, I'd rather wait until I get this Final Fantasy VII thing, because that's my priority as far as that goes. But it's not a priority. Like, I have this Pokemon series takes precedence, my anime videos take precedence, my wrestling videos take precedence, Behind the Universe, all my other projects take precedence before that Final Fantasy VII thing, but as far as branching out into new games, that's the first thing on my list. And I know that I did say a while back that I had thought of putting this other gaming content on a third channel and trying to focus this one strictly on wrestling videos, but at the same time, I just opened a third channel, which is more for unscripted vlogs, and when I say vlogs, it's just like basically just narrations from me. But that channel, I don't really want to mix that with gaming stuff, and I don't really want to start a fourth channel, because then I'm just dividing up my audience all over the place between all these different channels. And while, yeah, it would work better to cultivate an audience for that specific type of content, at the same time, I feel like I'm dividing up my audience more than is necessary. Yeah, I guess it could kind of, if there are certain people who come from my anime channel just to watch the Pokemon videos, it might be kind of, they might not be as willing to subscribe, because then their subscription feed is going to be littered with all this wrestling stuff, whereas wrestling fans might not be as open to subscribing, because all this Pokemon stuff is going to be popping up in their feed on top of the wrestling videos that I make. And that is, I guess, that is something to consider. But there's always, I could always, like, people could see, if you follow me on Twitter, all the videos that I post are going through that one Twitter, so if anybody doesn't want to actually subscribe to this channel, but they just want to watch the Pokemon videos because that interests them, then they can just follow through my tweets or check my playlists on this channel. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the other channel as far as linking to this type of content. Like, should I put playlists over there, like all my Pokemon videos, and then link to this? Or, I know Digibro has a playlist which is all videos featuring Digibro. I could do that, but that's... I've made over 1,000 videos total on YouTube. No, this video should be uploaded after my 1,000th video special. But I've made a lot of videos on YouTube, so adding them all to a playlist is going to be tedious, so maybe I should do it one day. That might be a smart thing to do, but I'm also lazy, and that'd be a lot of work trying to put it all into a playlist. It'd be mind-numbing, more so than being, like, physically or mentally taxing or draining. But yeah, that's just YouTube talk, my YouTube ramblings, and the future of stuff. I don't know. If anything was interesting to you, point it out in the comments, leave a reply to it, and we can get a discussion going. Although that typically doesn't happen on these videos. I don't know, maybe a Nuzlocke will be more popular than my Coliseum Gale of Darkness series or my Red Rescue Team series. But I have been very, very happy with the progression of Pokemon on this channel recently. It might just be because the MathWiz97X channel had a bit of a boom back in the month of, well, June going into July, and I guess late May as well. With the release of, WrestleMania, of course, was big. The How to Make a Successful Universe Mode video started catching up. So that did pretty well and brought in a bunch of new people to the channel. And then my Simple Saturdays videos seemed to be received pretty well. So the channel just had a lot of extra traffic coming into it, and I definitely think that transferred over to the Pokemon videos, because I went from back in, like, the Gale of Darkness days, back in late last year, I should say, like, before the release of WWE 2K17, those videos were averaging about 20, maybe 30 views on, like, average. Somewhere between 20 and 30. But then, I guess, after I did, even the Coliseum series for a while, it kind of had that similar plateau of maybe getting to, like, 40. But then, once I started up the Red Rescue Team series and the Coliseum, really it was around the boom of the channel. I refer to it as a boom, because I don't know what else to refer to it as, where, I just had the influx of views and subscribers. It really helped to catapult it further up than what it was. It's still not anything significant compared to what my other videos do, but, like, going from 20, 30 views a video to now sometimes 100 views a video, but the average right now seems to be, like, anywhere between 60 and 80 views. That's a pretty good jump. That's almost like double, triple my previous numbers, which I'm very happy with. And I would like to keep that going, because my problem with Pokemon content in the past is that I never really stuck with it. I would do one series a year, pretty much. Like, in 2013, I did the Pokemon Light Platinum series, and I guess that one went on for a while. But that was still pretty early in my channel, which is why that didn't do all that well. Although my most popular video at the moment is a Pokemon video, although I think that Universe Mode video is gonna surpass it here shortly. Right now it's about 2,000 views behind it. But having a Pokemon video that highly viewed, I always felt like there was missed potential, that if I didn't make Pokemon videos on this channel, like, having a Pokemon video as the most popular video, it kind of, granted that was a special exception because of the game that it was and the gym that I was at the time, because it's a difficult gym to navigate. But I always thought there was a potential there, a potential untapped audience, like I could always redirect them to the stuff I do now, because they might see that video and think, well, this guy's not half bad, maybe I'll check out his other works. And then I link them to these later series, which I think are much better than the Light Platinum series that I made all those years ago. But that went for 2013, then the new wrestling game came out, and I didn't get back to Pokemon until about December with the Sapphire Nuzlocke. But the thing with that was, it did go on from December all the way up to, I think it went all the way up to September of that next year, because it went all the way up until about WWE 2K, would have been 2K15's release. But the thing with that series was, I uploaded it so infrequently, it was only like 33 parts. I think it was 33 parts. Over the course of like December to September. That's a solid 9 months, 8 months. I mean, that's a lot of time and not a lot of content. Like, 30 videos in a series over the course of 9 months. That's an average of... I'm not going to calculate the average. Yes, I am going to calculate the average because I am the math whiz. I have to know the numbers. 33 videos over 9 months. That was averaging 3.6 uploads a month on that series, which is like not even a weekly series. Like, at least with my Gale of Darkness and well, Gale of Darkness was an exception because I needed that backlog when I was going to college, so I just kind of burned through it. But with Coliseum, I did it on a weekly basis, and now that I'm having 2 series running alongside each other, it's still a weekly basis for each series, so it's slow progression in that aspect. But still, I'm getting them out weekly, so that's, depending on the month, that's 4 to 5 videos a month on that particular series. Well, more, yeah, I say 4 to 5 because sometimes the way that months fall, you get like 5 days of one day, so I might have like 5 Sundays, which means 5 Mystery Dungeon videos in that month. But it never really caught fire before because on the one thing I was uploading pretty infrequently, and the other thing was that a series would end, and then it would usually end around the time of the new game, so I wouldn't pick anything up until several months later. So at the end of the Sapphire Nuzlocke, I was like, okay, we're gonna do more Pokemon. I'm really excited to do more. And then a couple months passed, and I never really jumped on anything. I started to work on a series, and I just was not interested in doing it. Because the act of playing on my computer, playing on an emulator, that was where it really just turned me off of the idea of doing another Pokemon series. So I never ended up going through with that. Then in 2015, I rehashed a series that I made on a completely different channel. I did on a UCW community channel, which was Pokemon The Kanto Adventures, Pokemon Leaf Green. That was a very short series because I took what I considered to be a very boring 24-part series and I condensed it into, I believe it was 8 parts. And those came out also infrequently. And that was over the course of, I think, between like early July, and I think the last part came out maybe sometime in September. Whether it was early or late September, I'm not entirely sure on that. But again, 3 months for 8 videos. Still not very frequent. So it's no surprise that Pokemon content didn't succeed, didn't do very well on this channel over the course of that time. Let's see how much Scratch does compared to Low Kick. Still not a whole lot. But Wilder can finish this off on her own. And now I need to go heal, desperately. Wilder level 8, so I think that's enough. I think that's enough training. We've got Wilder and Rattatator to level 8. Charkasm level 9. I think I am ready to take on Corrupt. But we'll do that next time on my Pokemon Fire Red Nuzlocke. Thanks for joining me, and until then, keep on YouTubing.